Today, we're going to turn your household peanut butter into the most addictive, spicy peanut butter noodles. All right, so the overall ingredients for this, very simple. The most important thing, in my opinion, the noodles you use. These are just classic lo mein noodles from an Asian market. The thicker the noodle, the more texture, the more sauce it's going to hold on to. A thin noodle and a peanut butter sauce is just going to clump into a ball of noodles. So try to avoid that. The other thing I like, at least with my recipe, is most of it is just using 1 tablespoon. It will be multiple tablespoons of things, but you really only need to get this dirty, which is nice. Save your peanut butter to start. A little bit of heat from chili crisps. Use whatever type you like. Rice wine vinegar, sesame oil, a little bit of maple syrup for some sweetness, and then soy sauce. All of that together will form a very nice, easy peanut butter sauce. I'm going to show you how much of everything to use now, and we also just have a pot of water boiling, so when we're ready to cook the noodles at the very end, we'll do that, add the sauce to it, and you are done. We're also going to cut up a scallion. I'm going to do that off camera because you don't need to see me cut up a scallion. So I'll be back in 1 second with the rest of these ingredients. To start, we're going to need the peanut butter. We're going to use about 3 tablespoons, but you could adjust it after you make it once or twice to however much you like. A little more peanut butter will be a thicker sauce. Then we're going to do 2 tablespoons of soy sauce. I'm going to use low sodium soy sauce, but you could use whatever you want. 1 tablespoon of the rice wine vinegar, 1 tablespoon of toasted sesame oil, and then for sweetness, 1 tablespoon of maple syrup. You could also use honey. I'm going to add in a little of the boiling water that's waiting for the noodles just to start to melt that peanut butter down, but that's what you're looking for. Now push this off to the side. It's going to get a little thicker as it waits as well, and we're going to start to cook these noodles. There's that sauce after it sat, waiting while those noodles cooked. We just drained them. We left a little bit of water in here, and now we're just going to pour in that peanut butter sauce. I'm going to put in a splash of that pasta water that I grabbed. The starchy pasta water, I'm going to treat it kind of like an Italian dish. It's going to help bring this all together. You could use just regular hot water if you want, and just start to mix this all together. You can see that water really helps loosen it a bit and coat the noodles evenly. Throw in some of those scallions. We're going to add a little more of that peanut butter sauce. Every time I add it, I'm also going to add in a splash of that water just to make sure it's not too thick, and then just kind of mix this together until you get the consistency that you're looking for. We're also going to add in that hot oil. I'm going to wind up actually using my favorite hot oil, which comes from Din Tai Fung, and I'm just going to pour that right in at this point. You could use Chili Crunch and grab some of those chilies. You could also add garlic to this if you want. I really don't think it personally needs it, but if you want to add garlic, ginger, anything else, go for it. But that's the end sauce right there. You can see it's coated, it's thick, it's perfect. Throw that into a bowl, and now we're ready to taste this and see how great it is. Also, make sure that when you get into that bowl, scrape out as much of that sauce and the scallions that are left over. You want all of that coating it nice and evenly. And then I'm going to retop it here with more scallions and a little more hot oil. Get it as hot or as not hot as you want. And then we're ready to taste this. But look at how perfectly coated these noodles are. The sauce isn't running off and pooling at the bottom, and it's also not too thick that you can't eat it comfortably. This is the consistency you're looking for. All right, so here you are, finished product. As you can see, the sauce is very thick. That's what you're looking for. That's why I think the noodle is very important to this dish. The thicker the noodle, the more you'll be able to actually grab them rather than that peanut butter sauce clumping everything up. But it's also up to you completely. If you want to add more water and loosen up the sauce, you can. Let's dive into this and give it a taste test. It's absolutely perfect. Has that great rich peanut butter flavor, but you get the spice, you get the soy flavor. The toasted sesame really cuts through. If you're looking for something just to make that's easy, doesn't require a ton of ingredients that you probably don't already have, maybe you don't have sesame oil, maybe you don't have rice wine vinegar, you can get all of that at your local grocery store. This is way different than any pasta dish you're probably already making, so strongly recommend you give this a try. If you love peanut butter, if you've had this at an Asian restaurant, you know how great this sauce can be, and it's pretty easy to hit the mark at home. So these are super easy, spicy peanut butter noodles, and I think you'll love them.